So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming today. I want to give each other a massive warm round of applause. Thank you so much.
大家来参加今天的晚宴。那我们今天的晚宴是非常有意义的，是帮助 St. George and Sutherland 医疗研究机构。那他们呢不仅是筹款，而且在这个社区做了很多有意义的事情。有的时候呢，一个医疗研究的成果真的能帮助我们身边的人治疗疾病，我们身边的亲人还是朋友，所以这是一个非常有意义的慈善活动。那么我们也有这里的总经理CEO Jackie 在这里，他刚刚我听说不久前也筹办了一个1000人的一个活动，也是为了这个研究机构让大家更多的了解，所以他也做了很多的事情。那欢迎大家来参加今天的晚宴，谢谢。
Ladies and gentlemen, let's warmly welcome the CEO of the St. George Sutherland Medical Research Foundation, Jackie
Distinguished guests, sponsors. As Scott said, my name is Jackie Stratford and I'm proud to be the CEO of the St. George and Sutherland Medical Research Foundation. And it's my absolute pleasure to officially welcome you all to the inaugural Eye Care Community Charity Gala. Now, Scott and Christina have already thanked our distinguished guests, but I will just rename them because I'm so pleased that we've got such a wonderful group of people here today. So thank you, Mark Curry, MP for Oakley. Thank you, Kevin Green, Mayor of Georges River. And Kevin recently did a charity run for us and raised thousands and thousands of dollars. Thank you, Vince Badalati, for coming tonight. The directors of Club Central Hurstville Menai, and shortly we'll be honoured to have international movie star Zhou Jin Liu. So this is a very exciting night for the St. George and Sutherland Medical Research Foundation because it brings together a wonderful group of sponsors, supporters, performers and distinguished guests to join together as a community to raise vital funds for medical research at our local hospitals. Now these events don't just happen, and Scott has mentioned the organising committee, and they have done an amazing job, the organising committee. I can't take any credit for tonight. The organising committee, together with my wonderful offsider Tracy Junghans, have organised everything here tonight, so they've done a brilliant job. And I have to say, if you want an event organised, get this committee together. Now, a little bit about the organisation and why we're here tonight and what we're raising funds for. The St. George and Sutherland Medical Research Foundation was established in 2007 with the sole purpose of raising funds to support medical research at St. George and Sutherland hospitals. Medical research is vital for our hospitals because a hospital with a strong research profile attracts and retains the best clinical staff. Therefore, they provide the most up-to-date treatments for ourselves and our loved ones. Over the past 12 years, SSMRF has awarded $6 million in research grants to 50 recipients. And in addition, we played a major role in establishing the Microbiome Research Centre at St. George Hospital, attracting significant funding from both federal and state government. The Foundation supports a wide variety of medical research, including cancer, cardiovascular, hematology, pregnancy, aged care, infectious diseases, and of course, microbiome research. And I'm sure that one of these health issues will affect either ourselves or one of our families, loved ones over the years. So it's very important that the community comes together to support medical research. The Foundation is passionate about supporting what we call next generation researchers by providing seed funding through a competitive grant process. And later tonight you'll hear from Associate Professor Julia McLean, who's a member of the SSMRF Research Committee, and it's their very difficult job to review all the applications and make the awards of the grants. Earlier this year, we advertised for expressions of interest for medical research grants, and we received an overwhelming response. In total, 29 expressions of interest, requesting total funding of $1.2 million. Unfortunately, we couldn't award all those grants, but we did award 5 medical research grants in June of this year, and they totaled around about $200,000. And a little later on, you'll be hearing from Dr. Betty Wu, who was one of our recipients this year. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, all the funds raised tonight, and we hope that you're going to dig deep in your pockets and buy raffle tickets and auction prizes, but all the funds raised tonight at the Eye Care Community Charity Gala will go towards our 2020 medical research grant. So everything that we raise will go towards medical research. And you just never know what important medical breakthroughs might come from this vital investment in our hospitals. So sincerely from my heart, thank you so much for coming tonight. Thank you so much for your support for medical research. Thank you.
So ladies and gentlemen, our first speaker of the night, officially of one of our guest speakers, is a very, very hard-working member of the community. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Mark Couray, member for Oakley, Deputy Speaker of the House. I must say, Mark, you're the role model member and you're a mentor to me. Thank you very much.
The Sichuan change-facing opera entertainment was brilliant. Well done, Charlie. We've got some of them in State Parliament, typically on the same side. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honour to be there. That was a joke, everyone. Great honour to be here tonight, and I want to thank the organising committee, led by Annie. I can't see anyone out there, the lights are so strong. Annie Tan, where's Annie? She's there somewhere. Led by Annie, and of course we've got Christina Wu. How good is Scott and Christina as MCs? Don't they do a great job? And I know on the organising committee we've got Dominic Sin, we've got PJ, Tracy herself, Cynthia, and I think there's one or two others. So, and you too, yes, on the organising committee. I'm Mark, by the way, nice to meet you. Ladies and gentlemen, of course I want to acknowledge the great work of Jackie Stratford and everyone involved in this wonderful St George Sutherland Shire Medical Research Foundation. Good evening, and it is a real honour to speak to you on such an important night, celebrating such an important foundation. And before I begin, I want to acknowledge the Bidjigal people and Darrell people of the Eora Nation, who are the traditional custodians of the land and the water in our local community. I'd also like to pay my respects to all the elders, past, present and emerging. To the many VIPs here today, we've got so many community leaders, including of course our Mayor, Kevin Green, the Mayor of Georges River City Council, of course many community leaders. We've got Vince Badalati, another councillor, Christina Wu gets another mention as a councillor, Annie Tang, a former Deputy Mayor of Kogarah, Dominic Singh, another former councillor. I can't forget my buddy Don Dong Yang, who I've known for a very, very long time. Of course, I noticed there in his pink tie, sitting there looking down, a former member of the Upper House, Peter Wong, who for 8 years was a great ambassador and community leader of the Chinese community. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the St George Sutherland Shire Medical Research Foundation holds a special place in our local community. In fact, my first speech in Parliament after the inaugural speech was a private member's statement on the foundation, acknowledging the work of everyone here. And during the speech, I should say, I spoke on the success of that year's annual gala dinner held in May 2011. Well, 700 speeches later, 8 years later, 10 pounds heavier, the St George Sutherland Shire Medical Research Foundation has become an even more valuable group in our community. Their work in raising funds and awareness for medical research for St George Sutherland Shire hospitals in our community is crucial for the development and progression of medicine in our local area. This research has benefited countless members of our community, many which may never have heard of the foundation. That is the most impressive part of the work of this foundation. The foundation has a huge impact, but often receives little recognition. And tonight is an opportunity for all of us to say thank you and to recognise the unsung heroes who often go unnoticed. As a community, we owe so much to the foundation. Tonight is also an opportunity to celebrate the diversity of our local community and officially begin the foundation's Eye Care Community Charity Gala Dinner. This is just one of many great event successes in the history of the foundation. Every year the foundation hosts a charity golf day, a medical research symposium, as well as this, the 2019 Beach Side Dash, raising over $70,000, and the Michael Tynan Memorial Challenge, raising over $520,000. I'm confident that the iCare Community Charity Gala will be a great success into the future and continue the Foundation's great record of creative and effective fundraising. Although these events have made a huge difference, I am proud to have been able to support both the Foundation and the hospital, St George Hospital, over the many years. When we came to government, we rebuilt and upgraded the hydrotherapy pool, and since then provided a birthing suite and assisted with the establishment of the Cancer Care Centre. This in addition to over $700 million being spent either at the moment or over the last 8 years at St George Hospital. In saying this, it is only with the work of those on the ground that this crucial funding can have genuine and tangible impacts on our local community. The St George Sutherland Shire Medical Research Foundation are the vital cog in the machine that is striving to improve the healthcare standards of our local community. Their importance in the process cannot be understated. And for that, I would like to extend a particular thank you to Jackie, to Tracy and the entire team, including, of course, the Board Chair, John Edmonds, and the Research Committee Chair, Professor Michael Green. The Foundation, ladies and gentlemen, is a true example of a strong spirit of selflessness in our great community. And thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening, and I hope everyone has a fantastic event.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I must also mention that Mark is very passionate about the health sector, and Mark, thank you also for locking in that $700 million second stage upgrade for St George Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark, you're right. Next up, Mark, we'd love for you to stay on stage and also invite our event committee alongside Kevin Green, our Mayor of Georges River, as well as Councillor Vince Badalati, Emeritus Mayor, to come up onto the stage as we present our certificates of appreciation to our event sponsors tonight. And can we also invite Jackie Stratford, of course. Jackie, do we have everyone there? Cynthia? We've got the full squad? Beautiful. Now, ladies and gentlemen, can we first invite both our event sponsors, but one at a time, of course. First for tonight, National Auto Glass Supplies. Can we please invite you up? We'd like to thank you for sponsoring this event. Without you, it's not going to be possible. Of course, Benny and the crew, I haven't got to meet you yet properly. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give the National Auto Glass Supplies a warm round of applause. Mark, can we get you to go behind and maybe... Is Mark going behind? Everyone's sitting? You know what? We made a bit of a stuff up, like stuff happens, so thanks for your understanding. I've just been given the advice that we're going to do all the sponsors together. You've had your 10 seconds of fame, and now we're going to get everyone up here as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, can we invite our other event sponsor tonight, Miracle Supermarkets, Taste of Shundi, my very good friends, Taste of Shundi, please come up. The Way In Network, obviously headed up by Annie Tang as well. Kongs Australia, if you need any pet supplies, Kongs Australia is the way to go. Georges River Association, which I understand is headed up by Ben Wang, is that correct? Thank you very much, Ben. Club Central Hurstville, of course, the lovely venue that we're in tonight. And of course, Vince, thank you so much for your support tonight as well. Very much appreciated on behalf of Georges River Council. Thank you very much, Vince.
那我们请出所有的赞助商到我们的舞台。那我们已经有 National Auto Glass Supplies， 还有美而莲超市，还 还有我们的Taste of 顺德味道、会贤会、Coast Australia 乔治和联合会，还有赞助我们本次活动、支持本次活动的 Central Hospital.
And can we invite all of our sponsors to please stay on stage for the group photo. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a massive warm round of applause. Tommy, come up here. Warm round of applause for all our sponsors, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
欢迎前体育部长，现在的我们乔治河市政府第1任的市长 Kevin Green 先生致辞。
Interesting that these rooms are actually named the Biddigal Rooms in honour of those custodians and traditional custodians of the land. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd also recognise Mark Coure, councillors Vince Badalati and Christina Wu, also my fellow director here at Club Central, Brian Roberts, to Jackie Stratford and Tracy from the Medical Research Foundation, to all our guests here this evening. Particularly thank you to Annie and the committee for the opportunity to attend. Ladies and gentlemen, I represent 2 organisations tonight. I'll quickly speak first on behalf of George River Council and say we're pleased to be able to support the Research Foundation and the wonderful work they're doing. This is internationally recognised research that is being undertaken here in your community. These are medical researchers who are renowned across the world. In fact, only recently I met with representatives from Shunde in China, and we were talking about a partnership with China and our local Medical Research Foundation. That, ladies and gentlemen, is why you need to give a big round of applause to Jackie and her team and those researchers. That's how good they are. From a council perspective, it's important to note that only recently we were able to provide a $10,000 donation, and only this week, thanks to Councillor Badalati, an extra $1,500 was added to that donation, and in 3 weeks' time, Council's annual Pro-Am golf tournament will hopefully raise in excess of $20,000 to add to that fundraising. Georges River Council strongly supports the Medical Research Foundation. Congratulations for receiving that support, Jackie and the team. The other hat I wear this evening is as a director of this club. Club Central is pleased and proud to host this function, but more importantly, it's pleased and proud to support financially the work of the foundation. Last weekend, my wife Frances and I were able to undertake a charity walk, and this club donated $5,000 to that walk, a walk that has in fact raised just over $16,000. Francis was a lot quicker on the walk than I was. It was only 20 kilometres, it felt like 20 miles. Think about that mathematically. Ladies and gentlemen, as a community, we need to dig deep and support this foundation. Governments, and Mark will attest to this, governments can only do so much. Governments can support to a degree, but as a community, if we wish to be leaders, if we wish to have the best, if we wish to retain the best doctors, the best researchers here in the St George area, we need to dig deep and support them financially. That's why George River Council, that's why Club Central, that's why so many other businesses are on board, and that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I finish tonight with this one plea. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for digging deep to support this wonderful organisation. Have a lovely evening. Thank you very much.
刚刚致辞的市长 Kevin Green， 他曾经是这里的州议员，也是曾经的体育部长。那他同时现在也是 Club Central 的董事。那刚才他代表 Club Central， 我们现在在进行晚宴的这个场所，他代表 Club Central 为St George Medical Research Center 也捐献了5000块钱的支票，非常感谢他。下面请出组委会的主席邓小雨女士，她为了此次晚宴真的花费了很多的心血，把所有的人，把组委会的人员都召集在一起，几乎最近几天每一天都为了这个晚宴不辞辛苦的工作。那非常感谢她为晚宴做出的贡献，欢迎她致辞。
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Before I start, can I ask you to put up a big round of applause to the two MC of tonight, Councillor Christina Wu and also Mr. Scott Young. You know that two of them, have a very busy schedule. Only like at 6 o'clock, they put up their MC together. And I think that they did a very good job, and that's why our team, we are here tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again. On behalf of the event organizing committee, we would like to welcome you all to join with our SSMRF Eye Care Community Care Charity Gala. We are honored to have the presence of Mr. Mark Ray, MP, member for Oakley, Mr. Calvin Green, the Mayor of Georges River Council, and also Councillor Vince Badalati, and I must say that our Australian Chinese leader, Dr. Peter Wong, he was the former MLC and have a very great, reputation in our Australian Chinese community. Always because I'm one of his followers. So after retire, we still focus, with our charity mission, no matter in the mainstream or with our Australian Chinese community. And also, I would like to acknowledge the presence of one of my good friend, Ms. Lee Lam. She was the former mayor of Auburn City. And also tonight we are great to have Mrs. Serena. She is the winner of the 2019 Miss Australian Chinese pageant, and glad to have her tonight. Later on, she will do some appeal for us, and then she will go around, to every single table. I hope that you can dig deep from your pocket, and either you can be enrolled as like a medical research champion, or dig deep, to buy some raffle ticket. We have a lot of very good prize that you can bring it home tonight. The main purpose of this gala dinner is to fulfill our mission to foster our love, care, and harmony in our community. Our committee members come from a diverse range of ethnic backgrounds, and we are always being proud of the culture diverse and the inclusive nature of the St. George and Sutherland area. Medical research plays a very important role in the healthcare of the community. We are truly blessed to enjoy a high quality of life, knowing that our local hospital have a very strong medical research focus. Since the establishment of SSMRF in 2007, it has dedicated its resources to enriching the healthcare of our community through medical research projects. Thank you all for attending tonight to support our very first eye care charity gala. And special thanks to all the sponsors, donors, for your kind contribution and donation. Also to the many local business community representative, volunteers for showing your generous support and tremendous support to this event. And my heartfelt thank you to Tracy, and also with the leadership of Jackie, the CEO of SSMRF. Behind this scene, I think that for the last 2 or 3 months, we have put a lot of effort, even though everybody have his or her very busy schedule. But tonight, we delivered. And on behalf of the committee, thanks again for joining us, and hope everyone have a very enjoyable and memorable night to bring home. Thank you. Now, I would like to cover a bit, in Cantonese, because my Mandarin is not good. So that's why I would say thank you to Christina, volunteer to be, cover like all the rundown in her very fluent Mandarin. So now I would like to brief a little bit in Cantonese. 各位晚上好，我代表我哋嘅籌委會成員，多謝大家出席我哋 SSMRF 首屆嘅關懷社區慈善晚會。今日咧，我哋亦都好多謝有閣下有咁多嘅主禮嘉賓嚟出席我哋今晚。有我哋個州議員Mr. Mark Curry 啦，另外亦都係有我哋喬治河市長Mr. Calvin Green 同埋我哋嘅市議員Vince Badalati， 更加係請到我哋前新州上議員黃少強醫生。另外咧又係有林麗華女士啦，佢係我哋前澳門市嘅榮譽市長。更加令到今日嘅晚會更加係星光熠熠咧，就係有我哋啱啱新鮮出爐嘅2019澳洲華裔小姐Serena 嘅嚇。咁我哋頭先你會睇得到我哋嘅介紹啦，我哋嘅籌委會雖然嚟自唔同嘅民族背景，但係咧今晚咧我哋係抱住我哋有共同嘅願景同埋熱情，回歸翻俾我哋嘅社區。因為咧，我哋一直咧係居住喺聖佐治區啦，同埋Sutherland 呢個大地區裏邊。我哋為咗我哋當地嘅社區嘅多元文化同埋個包容性，我哋係感到好自豪。同時咧，我哋咧亦都係能夠好幸運享受到一啲高質量嘅生活，因為咧有我哋嘅社區嘅醫院提高，因為佢哋係非常重視一啲醫學研究。通過呢啲醫學研究嘅項目咧，係令到我哋有好多優秀嘅臨床醫生咧，可以為病患者啦同埋社區提供更好嘅醫療嘅。喺今晚嘅社區籌款晚宴之中，所籌得嘅善款咧，將會用於喺我哋明年2020年嘅醫學研究嘅項目。咁最後咧，我謹代表我哋所有籌委會嘅成員，感謝到你哋每一位到嚟出席，到嚟支持，亦都係特別感謝我哋今晚所有嘅贊助商啦、善款捐獻人啦、表演團體同埋義工，特別咧就係Tracy。我想大家俾一啲掌聲Tracy。佢其實係我哋呢個籌委會成員嘅一個靈魂嚟嘅，因為我哋7個唔同嘅籌委會成員啦，各自都有自己個好 busy 一個嘅 schedule 啦。咁佢喺背後做到好多嘢。咁我亦都係好開心可以同Tracy 同埋咁多籌委會成員今日可以做到一個我哋首屆嘅社區關懷嘅慈善晚宴。咁再次多謝大家嘅出席，我希望以下落嚟嘅時間咧，你哋都可以再繼續支持我哋啦，因為我哋以下有好多嘅auction 或者係我哋嘅幸運獎券嘅一啲嘅環節。咁再次多謝大家，多謝。
Our next speaker for this evening, if I may, just give me 1 second, is one of our research committee members. Now, this person is on the St. George Sutherland Medical Research Foundation Research Committee, a conjoint associate professor at St. George and Sutherland Clinical School, a clinical specialist, speech pathology, UNSW medicine as well, and I hear that she just told me that she's going to Beijing next week to share the results of her research. And that's what good bilateral relations are about. So ladies and gentlemen, can we put our hands together for Dr. Julia McLean?
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the organisers for inviting me to talk this evening. Scott just gave me a quick lesson because I am off to Beijing next week, and so this is unfortunately the extent of my language skills. Ni hao, she she. We're changing pace a little bit. I would like to talk to you a little bit about research and why clinical research is important to our hospitals and also our community. So I've worked at St George Hospital as the senior speech pathologist in ear, nose and throat surgery and oncology for the past 23 years. And I'm just going to spend a little bit of time reflecting on some of the research activity that we've done and what we're doing and how it's made a difference to our patients and our community. Early in my career at St George, I was very fortunate to come into contact with Professor Ian Cook, who's a gastroenterologist. He was one of the founding members of the St George and Sutherland Medical Research Foundation. And Professor Cook has taught me the value of being a clinical researcher. People were asking me, I think when we think about researchers, we think about it happening in academic units, in universities, and researchers being in a lab with little petri dishes. But for many of us, it's actually happening in hospitals with our patients. And these clinical researchers, we can make direct impacts on our patients. So I want to challenge that notion about research just happening in universities, and I want to discuss when patients and when we blend the two, so we actually have clinical researchers working in hospitals, that we can concentrate on making the sick better, but we can also concentrate on the very important research that we have to do. So we actually have very good evidence that hospitals conducting basic and clinical research are more efficient. They have reduced healthcare costs and better health outcomes. We actually diagnose more quickly and more accurately. We provide the best treatment for patients, and the surgical outcomes for those patients are better. And there's also a shorter length of stay, which is a real push for everyone in hospitals. Typically, research that is published in the journals takes 17 years to come into clinical practice. So what's really important when we're doing clinical research is that we can translate our findings directly with our patients. So it allows prompt translation of research into practice. It also gets clinicians to think critically. It gets them to ask and answer questions and evaluate outcomes. And those three things are actually research. And we know that research improves patient care. So in terms of relevance and importance to the community, research discovers important new healthcare advances. It ensures a rigorous approach to assessment. We have to evaluate everything that we do. And really importantly, people want to be at the cutting edge of what's going on, so it attracts good people to the institution. It creates stable clinical teams retaining key staff. For myself, because I've been involved with research so long and we're embedded in a research program, we stay at the hospital and we continue to work and build on our research. And we know that good people in the right environment equal an excellent healthcare system. So I'm going to talk to you about something this evening which I think illustrates this, and it's something that I research, which is swallowing. And it's something that, using tonight's slogan, I really care about. Swallowing is something that we don't put much thought into, but it's really fundamental to life. As I say to my patients, it's something that you don't think about until you can't do, and then it's often all you can think about. Swallowing is central to our quality of life. Look at us here tonight, we meet amongst a meal, and that's what happens with our friends and our families. We go out, we drink coffees, and we eat together. Swallowing disorders are actually very common in many conditions. In fact, 1 in 17 people will develop a swallowing disorder in their lifetime. Neurological disorders, cancer and its treatment, and ageing are all some of the reasons that people get swallowing problems. We know that 27% of people over the age of 76 will have difficulty swallowing, and 51% of people in our nursing homes have difficulty eating and drinking. 50 to 75% of stroke patients, and the area that I work in, 60 to 70 patients who we treat with head and neck radiotherapy and we cure them of their cancer are left with significant swallowing problems. We actually know that there can be potentially catastrophic consequences from these difficulties in swallowing. People can be malnourished, it can have a direct impact on their quality of life, it can result in pneumonia and death. We actually have done research that has shown that 30% of non-cancer related mortality in our population is because patients cannot swallow. 65% of the patients who I treat will have swallowing difficulties. So I'm going to just give you a quick lesson in swallowing. This is the patient swallowing. You can see the black going down as he swallows. It's an X-ray, that's barium, and this is a normal swallow. So all of that happened in less than 1.5 seconds. Okay, that's normal swallowing. It takes 30 muscles to get something from the mouth to the top of your esophagus, and it's a highly coordinated activity. We do it 1,200 times a day. This is a patient who's had head and neck cancer treatment. You can see the hardware that's in his jaw, and as he swallows, if you look at the black going down the front, that is actually going down into his lungs. And you can see that the black that is in his pharynx, or the area at the back, is really sitting there. It's not squeezing down into the esophagus. Swallowing is really hard work for this man. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about a current research project that we're doing, and this has been supported by the St George and Sutherland Medical Research Foundation. As I said, we know that lots of our patients have food and liquid going down the wrong way, and up until now we've had great difficulty in quantifying that and knowing which patients are going to fall into trouble. So we're using new technology. We're using a special test in nuclear medicine where we use a single proton CT scan, and the patient swallows a certain material, and then we use a 3D camera, and we can accurately detect and quantify how much has gone down the wrong way into the lungs. So you can see here the red that you can see lit up is actually where liquid has gone down the wrong way, and for the first time we can really quantify the amount that's sitting in the lungs. We can also assess, importantly, which patients are able to clear this, because if something goes down and you can clear it, you're not going to end up with the same serious consequences. So we have a research program where we have patients who we know have things going into their lungs, and we're using expiratory muscle strength training. And this is a simple breathing device where we actually decrease the lung complications by getting the patients to improve their lung strength and their cough. So you can see someone being trained in EMST here. Really importantly, it's easy, it's cheap, and it's effective. So if we find that we can do this, this will be our holy grail that we've been working for over 15 years to find. We will be able to see who is really at risk of developing these aspiration-related consequences. We might be able to identify them early and do something before they're in trouble. And we might be able to change the risk that they have. If we can put them in exercise programs with a physio, we may be able to strengthen that respiratory response using this simple device that patients can use at home. And if you think about me saying that 1 in 17 people have swallowing disorders, you can imagine how we can apply this knowledge to a really, really wide range of people. I'm just going to finish talking to you about this patient who you can see sitting in the back with his family there. Peter is a patient of mine, and he's very happy for me to tell his story. Peter was a fireman. He was a local fireman, and 3 years ago he developed a head and neck cancer. He actually sailed through treatment. He came in every day for 35 treatments or 7 weeks and had radiotherapy, and he had chemotherapy each week of his treatment. At the end of his treatment, things started to fall apart a little bit for Peter, and he was unable to swallow, and it got to the point that he couldn't swallow anything at all. In fact, his esophagus completely closed, and we had to systematically, with our gastroenterology colleagues, open up his esophagus for him. At that time, a lot of the material he swallowed went into his lungs. He actually had 4 admissions to our intensive care unit. He arrested at home. His wife had to give him CPR. And this was because food and liquid was going down into his lungs. We've been able to work with Peter. We've trained him. We've got his expiratory muscle strengthened and improved his cough. And I'm really pleased to say for the last 12 months he's stayed out of our intensive care unit. Last week he went away with his family for the first time. And you can see him sitting there with his 3 daughters and his grandchildren who he didn't think he was going to be around to see. And I can tell you, although life is still really hard for Peter, he's mainly fed through a tube. He has a drink every night with his family. And he would certainly tell you that his quality of life has been directly impacted on by the research that we've done. So ladies and gentlemen, this is an example of where research can directly impact on the lives of our patients that I treat every day. My research subjects are the patients I see daily. The interventions are able to be conducted throughout their standard treatments. They are aware that they're participating in research and that we're evaluating their outcomes. In my experience, patients love being part of research. They know that it might help them, but what they really like is they know that it will actually impact positively on the next generation of patients coming through. Research allows us to systematically assess the outcomes of our interventions, and when we make breakthroughs, we can implement them directly into our treatment paradigms. It doesn't take us 17 years to get our research into practice. So in my experience, research conducted in teaching hospitals can make a positive impact on the patients we treat. Really importantly though, it provides a dynamic and positive work environment for clinicians, encouraging us to do better for the patients that we are there to serve. Thank you.
Our next speaker is a PhD candidate of microbiome research centre at St George Hospital, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you get something out of it. Let's put our hands together for Dr. Betty Nanwu. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for staying awake for this long. My name is Betty. I am a gastroenterologist with a special interest in inflammatory bowel diseases. And I'm currently undertaking a PhD in the Microbiome Research Centre, which the SSMRF have had a central role, instrumental role in in building and establishing. 我名字是吴楠，我是一个肠胃科的专家，但是我今年和下面2到3年会做一个博士研究免疫性肠炎，就是克隆病和溃疡性肠炎。我的中文就到此为止了啊，我下面就是用英文说了啊。So our team at the MRC was so fortunate to have received the SSMRF grant to undertake this landmark research project, which will hopefully improve the lives of those living with inflammatory bowel disease in our community and maybe all over the world. All right, I've put up some diagrams on the PowerPoints on either side. I'm mindful that it's quite close to dinner, so I'll be as generous as possible. But basically, in inflammatory bowel disease, our own immune system destroys our intestines. It causes pain, bloody diarrhea, and chronic fatigue. We still don't know what exactly causes it, and that's one of the questions our research hopefully will answer. But so far, we think it arises from a perfect storm of conditions. You have someone with the wrong genes, and they harbor the wrong bugs in their gut, and then they're exposed to harmful elements in their environment and diet, and then they get the condition. And the worst thing is, this disease is often diagnosed at a very young age. The mean age of diagnosis is 21. Sometimes children are diagnosed. And it has a huge impact, as you can imagine, on the individual, on their loved ones and carers, and of course, on our community as a whole. Some of you in the room may have been directly affected or know of someone who has been affected by this condition, which is a chronic illness, essentially at the moment with no cure. And it's not surprising that it's common because Australia has one of the highest rates of inflammatory bowel disease in the world, with approximately 1 in 250 affected. In the St George and Sutherland Shire, our own local community alone, we estimate about 2,000 sufferers currently exist. And this number is expected to increase. We expect there to be about 100,000 Australians living with this condition in the next 5 years. So why is it increasing? Well, that's one of the mysteries. If you look at the map, you can see that the places with the highest rates in red, so Australia, Europe, North America, are all westernized nations. So there is something in the Western environment that predisposes us to this condition. And this graph shows it really well. So on the left, okay, so towards the wall, are first-generation migrants who have moved to Switzerland. And these people come from a country with a very low rate of inflammatory bowel disease. And you can see here, so Switzerland is indicated by the flat line 1 there, and everyone is below the line because their rate is lower. But when you look at their children, in the second generation, they have risen. Their rates of inflammatory bowel disease has risen to Swedish levels. And Australia, like Switzerland, has one of the highest rates of inflammatory bowel disease. So what is the missing link? Why is this happening? Well, there is something in the Western environment. And to put it crudely, things that we have that the developing world haven't got as much of is processed foods and abundance and sometimes overuse of antibiotics. These things that we put into our gut alter the bugs that live there. And they get rid of the good ones, and then you end up with bad bacteria. So we think it's the bad bacteria that the environment is promoting that is driving the rates of inflammatory bowel disease. Now, if this is really that simple, we would have found a cure already. The number of bacteria cells in our body outnumber our own cells 9 to 1. You're 90% bacteria, in fact. There's more bacteria cells here than there are human cells. So trying to understand them is even more challenging than understanding human genetics. And what we need are large samples. This is why we are undertaking this study, which is called the Australia IBD Microbiome Study. This is a collaborative effort between 16 hospitals, and we're proud to say that St. George is the headquarters, it's the lead site. Over the next 5 years, we hope to recruit 1,000 subjects, and we will obtain their samples over a 2-year period each, generating a huge data set. The data we collect will be about their lifestyles, their symptoms, findings on their camera tests or colonoscopies, along with biologic samples. And why are we doing this? We're doing this so we can link the microbial or bacterial signals to the patient in front of us. As an example, if you have Joe here who has inflammatory bowel disease, Joe undergoes a very stressful time in his life and his diarrhea worsens. If in that point in time we detect a surge of bad bacteria, could there be a link between stress, bad bacteria, and worsening symptoms in inflammatory bowel disease? On the other hand, say Sophie has adopted a new exercise and diet regime, and this is causing a change in her microbiome or the bugs in her bowel. And then Sophie experiences a period where her disease is under good control. So is there a link? Now, if we do this for 500 or 1,000 patients, we will be able to define the microbiota signature of inflammatory bowel disease in Australia. And this data bank will address the most burning questions in inflammatory bowel disease research, which are, what are the bugs that cause this condition, and how can we change this to help the sufferers? Now, of course, you have to do more than just that to deserve an SSMRF grant, as Jackie will, I'm sure, tell you. So what we are also doing is the St. George and Sutherland IBD project, which is a more short-term but immediately community-focused project. As I said, there's 2,000 people living in our community, but of these, only 400 are captured in the St. George Hospital IBD database. And St. George Hospital IBD service is the biggest public service for this, dedicated to this disease. The rest of the data is incomplete, fragmented, scattered across public and private sectors. So our job is to unite them, because you must know your enemy to defeat them. So we must bring inflammatory bowel disease into the open. And what the St. George and Sutherland IBD project will do is 3 things. First of all, it will tell us how much IBD is in our community, and that will allow hospitals to allocate resources appropriately. Secondly, it will generate a social media presence and a website that will form the basis for a support network and local IBD resource for our IBD patients and their carers. And finally, the data that this provides us will eventually, in the future, generate new innovations in clinical treatments and diagnostic tools. So this is where we are now today. We've got another 7 months to complete, but basically we have already recruited 100 subjects to the study. The posters have been distributed to a number of private gastroenterology practices and GP practices. We hope in the future in the next 6 to 8 months, recruit over 200. And this will keep going until we have captured everything in the community. So thank you guys so much for your attention. I'm sure dinner is coming soon. I'd like to thank the AIM study team as well as the St. George clinical team who have been instrumental in making this happen. And of course, SSMRF, without whom we will not be here today. So I'll just give a little plug for our project. This is our recruitment poster. Now, in addition to patients, we also want healthy poo. So we would like healthy controls to join our study. If you are interested or you know of someone who's interested, feel free to photograph that poster and distribute and share. Thank you very much, everyone.